Hey Andy, how's it going? Can you hear me? Hello, hello, testing, testing. One.
Hey,
Okay, hey. I thought my microphone was on. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you just fine. Sorry to keep you waiting. My Teams took 2.5 minutes to connect. I'm a little cranky with my fellow shareholders at Microsoft.
Oh boy. It's all good, my friend. We're almost
Yeah.
there. Weekend's almost here.
Can't get here soon enough. I've been going back to back since 4:30 this morning. I'm
Oh
looking
my.
forward to over.
What do
ER.
you do to fuel your body for so many back-to-back conversations?
It's just raw hatred and angst.
The dark side of the force.
You did. No, my wife teases me.
I'm,
She's like, you were the most pleasant and personable person while you're on the phone call. And the minute you hang up, you're like swearing a blue streak and throwing shit around.
I appreciate that. It shows you're a real human being with emotions. It's all good.
No,
Um,
I don't understand this place. Like, I mean, I understand that's an understatement. I understand this place reasonably well, but there's things that just make me scratch my head and go, what the fuck are we actually trying to get done here?
that's
Like, what?
it. It's as basic of a question as possible to that. It's like, what are we trying to solve? How do we define success? How do we know that we're even on the right track? That's not even what I'm trying to evangelize and coach the offshore India team. It's like they have all these assumptions and all these conclusions that they haven't tested, but they're shooting from their hip. They haven't even spoken to the client, and they're off making the architecture for it. I said, guys, let's focus on identifying, do our expectations and priorities align with whatever the client actually needs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had this thread. I was sitting with my daughter, got into a play, and so it's now like 12 hours a week of sitting in the parking lot about 45 minutes from the house while she practices.
You're a
It's
good
too far for me
dad.
to, like,
That's good.
it was far for me to go and then come back and then go and then come back. And so I'm there sitting there doing email in the car and looking at stuff that I hadn't looked at all week. Uh, and uh, and the thread came across my desk from Harsha, who runs the TNO pod, and she's like, Pervica has this really awesome OIE tool that everything's going to set the world on fire and it's going to be incredible, and we want to figure out a strategy how to sell it to ops. I'm like, and we want ops to take it. We think ops is going to transform ops business by at least 2,000%.
Oh yeah, I love those numbers out of their
Not
butt.
100%, but you had 2,000%.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, okay. And then he said, but we need about 6 more months worth of investment. We don't necessarily know how we can get to prioritize, but it's going to transform their business, and we really fully expect them to get there. So Andy, we desperately need your help in terms of getting them convinced to be able to kind of take this on and own it, to demonstrate the tremendous value that it's offering, and basically get them in 6 months, after 6 months of our investment, to take it over for 100% from us. And I was like, who in ops have you talked to about this?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, no one, but we understand their use cases and we think this is like, I reiterate, who in ops have you talked to about this?
Yep. It's those basic questions. Back to the basics of like, first of all, I don't know why people do that. Unless you're just, I guess, on automaton, you should be asking, how do you get these percentages from nowhere? Like, I'm going to go right into it. The Shweta and Amar Bafna's 1 to 2 week assignment is going to increase search results by 50 to 60%. Like, come on, guys. At least if you're going to sell me something, try to be a little realistic. I'm sorry, Andy.
No, I tried to write that response to that mail like 6 times, and every time I devolved into F-bombs, and I was like, you know what? I can't send this mail.
The best one is the best. You gotta just write it and just delete it. Yeah, and then start afresh. Because I don't, first of all, I'm lacking confidence with this team. Amar Bafna and the Shwetas. And I look, maybe you have more context and you have more nuance and history with them. I just don't understand Amar. He's supposed to be the leader of the tech development team for CDI, owner of data platform, data visualization. I can't, and I've been working with the vendor for the last month, getting all this insights. He doesn't show up. He doesn't respond. And he's supposed to be, he wants to, be the commander-in-chief of this offshore, internal dev project for AI. All we're trying to do is get answers and debate and, collaborate. And when I get statements of, oh yeah, 1 to 2 weeks we can improve search engine results by 50%, without even explaining what metrics you're using, how you're even, the how, it just comes off as, you're just, I understand why they're doing it. A lot of people are on the bench, they're trying to get internal projects and trying to get chargeability, but like, what are we trying to achieve here? This AI halo that you and Sanjeev mentioned before, I want to understand this vision and what steps should we really take in order to achieve that goal? Because simply adding knowledge graphs and NLP on top of Elasticsearch, it's only going to increase latency, lower performance, and probably not achieve what is the business goal of this whole effort.
Yeah. Jack basically, his comment was he used the search portal, the marketplace portal, and came back and said, it sucks. He said, I can't find anything that's in there. But the queries were bag of words queries. And, isn't there something we can actually do to improve it? Use AI, and it's old school tech. We can actually use in our portfolio to be able to show that we actually eat our own dog food.
Yes. I mean, that...
So, there's if you're reasonable, kind of reasonably apolitical approach to this, it would be say, one, it sucks. Well, the content's not in there. Shred has been actually trying to drive a work stream for 6 weeks about trying to get all the content from the CDI teams in there. All right, that's a Sisyphean task, but
sure.
Okay, we need to do that.
House clean.
The Elasticsearch, there's probably something we can do to tweak the vectors so that we can actually produce better search results. There's basically, but ultimately we need to find metrics to go clear that deck.
Right.
And then, but it doesn't answer the mail in terms of what the fuck we actually do in terms of actually delivering real AI, integrating real AI into our front door. And I still don't see a proposal from them that rivals what we could actually get from Dave. Now, Dave doesn't have to catch me out. Like I'm not sold on what anything Dave's really going to do. But Dave on his worst day is going to have more AI in his offering than any of the stuff that we have in there now.
Yeah.
And it's better than any proposal I've seen, which is zero.
Yeah, this is just not a proposal, and yeah, I'm just frustrated. When you were out last week, and I was trying to sit down with them and trying to just go over the points, they weren't taking it seriously. That's what I got my type of response. When you're not responding, when you're not talking to the person that's talking to the vendor to do a apples to apples comparison, what is your motive really then?
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
And first of all, how can you tell? I mean, we're not completely green. We're not just pure business people. How do you tell us that something is going to take 1 to 2 weeks? That means you have no sense of developmental plans. First, it takes a few weeks to even get the metrics, to even identify, are we even logging them? Metrics like click-through rate, latency, SERP, MMR.
I don't think they're being obstinate. I don't think they're being. They're not telling you to fuck off. I honestly don't think they know what they're doing.
Yeah, and the best person, that shows requires some maturity to say, you know what, Andy, we don't know. We don't have the background to do this, and we will concede defeat and leverage a vendor and learn from them. Understand what is their, the actual components of what their product that makes them tick, and then figure out, do we have the skill sets to actually build that internally, or are we just going to do more of the same? Because, like you said, we need to eat our own dog food. If we're campaigning to the world that we are Solutions.ai and CDI, and we're proposing and selling all these AI-based tools, we need to shine a light of what is our capabilities of our organization, and it's okay, especially from your level, to say, look, we don't have the right skill set. You told me Julie Sweet had a conversation with you, or you heard one. They're like, why can't we do ChatGPT here? And
Yeah.
I mean, tell me, Andrew, I was talking to my brother, he's a pure engineer, and I asked him, why can't you have tens of thousands of data scientists. Let's break that down to 1,000. So and so data scientists. Not to say that you need to lay them all off, but save all that budget, poach the best of the best talent, give them $1 million a year, give them 800K, get the best of the best, because you're going to be creating a far bigger ROI in terms of if you wanted an AI product offering than folks that are just going to do more of the same.
We're actively moving in the opposite direction.
I know. That's what you told me.
The guidance that came out was all asset engineering needs to be done. 95% of all asset engineering needs to be done offshore.
Yeah.
And by offshore, we mean locations where we can get an average UCR of less than $20 an hour.
Yeah. No, I
Like, you can't fucking manage a subway. Bangalore for less than $20 an hour.
I know.
Come on.
That,
I'm doing high-end dev work. I don't doubt that there's people out there who will be willing to do software development and do it well for less than $20 an hour. But the people that we're competing in the marketplace for,
Yeah.
we do not have a theory of winning those people over to us. If there's somebody out there, anybody out there willing to pay more than $20 an hour, I can't guarantee there's a zillion people out there willing to pay that.
yeah, no, I remember our conversation from a few months back about that, that objective to move most of them offshore. But it's a reality. It's like, then the expectations need to change. How can we or simply just leverage vendor talent and vendor products?
Yeah. So I ran into this. I need your help in terms of strategizing.
Sure.
I ran into this really great startup today. Craig Mundy. Do you know Craig or know of Craig Mundy? He was CTO at Microsoft for a while.
Yes.
So Craig Mundy is on their board, and he turned me on to them. It's called Able, AIBLE, which is the worst AI pun name ever. But they basically, without getting into the nitty gritty of what they built,
Sure.
they've got a platform that does what CDI should do
Mm-hmm.
in terms of making it easy to actually figure out where data sets are, compute analytics from those data sets, build freaking machine learning models with low-code, no-code interface to be able to actually produce benchmarks, and then do what-if simulation on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
So they showed me this, like, they were able to slurp in all of the data from a bank, and then with minimal configuration, use this kind of basically brute force unsupervised approach to compute every possible analytic comparison. All features from column A, all features from column B. Let's compare the dot product of all of those. Figure out which ones are useful, and then actually expose those as features. And then they were able to show, figure out exactly which ones corresponded to lending decisions, and then try to do all this kind of what-if analysis in terms of expected value in terms of lending decisions. It was fucking amazing.
Wow.
But what they were able to do is they were able to take data sets, first party and third party, bring it to a common infra, be able to produce analytics either from a top-down perspective that are bespoke or bottom-up it, produce those into benchmarks, align those with the existing benchmarks that are out there, and basically let you build machine learning models that actually produce analytics from those benchmarks to do what-if simulation.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, and I said, can you ask questions? And they said, well, that's the thing we need your help with. We're like, Craig wants us to basically partner with somebody who understands generative AI and ChatGPT, basically to map between all of this rich feature space that we've got into all these operators that we can operate over the data set with natural language queries on the other side. And I'm like, this is brilliant. This is everything that Jack wants in terms of CDI. And I'm looking at this going, the whole time I'm in the conversation going, fuck, if we can't get Dave Ferrucci and his all singing, all dancing front end to be able to kind of front our CDI marketplace, there's no chance that I'm going to actually be able to bring this whole thing in lock, stock, and barrel to replace much of the infra that we've been struggling to build for 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so baby steps for sure.
Run it up the flagpole and basically to start. My approach here is really run from the top. Basically, go to get Sanjeev and Ajay to buy in, and then basically come in and say, if it works, let's clobber the territory and see if it goes. But I need to get buy-in from the highest level. That's what's the bottom up again. riding shotgun on some of these conversations that are going to happen next week, let me know, because I feel like I'm always looking for interesting things for you to go do or to be involved in. And so
Appreciate that. Yeah, no, sign me up, Andy.
The elemental cognition thing's not going to go forward. We should cut bait.
Well, I mean, if you're thinking that this is gonna blow it out of the water, then we should.
Nah, no, I don't think they compete. I think they're complementary.
Gotcha.
Do me a favor. Let's take the Ajay pitch that says, hey, this is what elemental cognition could do for us as part of the CDI marketplace, and this is why. It could be 3 slides. This is what it does.
Yes. I actually have something better, and already ready to go. I've been working with Joe and his brother, actually, that works at EC.ai. I think his name's Matt. And I've been partnering with them to build a pitch deck for Accenture leadership like yourself. And we can go over that. I can send it to you. We can go over it now. Consolidate it to the 3 slides that you want to focus on. But I made it sure it was absolutely basic. Here's the problem statement Accenture is facing. Here's the Cora. What is Cora? Here's the solution, the architecture involved, etc.
Okay.
Let me.
That sounds awesome. So send it to me if you feel comfortable.
Of course. It's not my slides per se. It's more Joe and Matt's from ECDI, but I collaborated with them to give them help organizing what information would be pertinent and wouldn't distract the conversation, I would say.
Yeah, we just need to move the question, though. I mean, that's what I would go do. I'd say put the core deck together side by side with what Shweta and Amar's best approach would be.
Yeah.
And then basically have one slide that puts an apples-to-apples comparison of what it cost and risk and everything else would look like. And then let's just move the question and basically say, hey, for $40,000 we could actually, or $100,000 we could actually get this whole thing done with elemental cognition, and there's no risk to execution model, or for $100,000 worth of staffing, we could actually get it done internally with less upside.
Yeah, I have to push back on Shweta and Amar Bafna to give me an actual price quote based off their engineering costs, and give me buffer because.
Do me a favor. Let's escalate. Just send them a mail. CC me.
Sure.
And I'll come back and say what the fuck is going on. Why don't I have a quote?
You want me to CC Amar, correct?
Yeah, whatever the working team is.
Sure. Yeah, I'll tell him. Give me a.
CC me and say, and I'll just come back with the top and go, hey, I need an answer on this relatively soon.
Sure, cost breakdown, as well as the actual developmental plan that tells you that it's going to only take 1 to 2 weeks. That's going to produce a 50 to 60% improvement. Show me the money, so to speak. Show me the plan.
Seriously. Yeah, well, I have no danger asking for plans.
Yeah, it's easy to just say, "Oh yeah, 2,000% improvement." Back it up. So as far as your other.
Either behaviors are going to change or I'm going to go crazy, one or the other. And I'm banking on the latter, but
it's probably going to be both. We have to just push back because people are in an autopilot of how they behave, how they even run a project. They go with the conclusions first and then don't even work their way back. They just full moving train, deliver it, move on. Product goes in the filing cabinet, never to be seen again, never to become valuable. It requires a true. I don't know if it's a culture thing or if it's purely, just they're overworked and they can't even think freely. But
no, I think it's. I was on a call where I joined 2 minutes late, and somebody was talking about me, and they said, "Andy's a great software executive, and he really understands. He's empathetic, but he's never going to understand that the culture here is not around execution." I was like, "Wow." Everybody else got it.
Oh damn. Yeah. So, I mean, at a certain point, obviously you have much higher conversations than I do with leadership. So it comes to a point before you go crazy that you'll have to go over like options. Like we go with option A, this is what we can achieve. Option B, this is what we can achieve. Or we just keep doing the same thing and, get mediocre results. Obviously.
I'm with you, brother.
Yeah.
So let's move the question. Let's get a deck. Let's get a review together with Ajay on Tuesday.
You got it.
Or choose to, let's just do it. Like, I mean, and if they're not ready, they're not ready. We say we've got known unknowns and unknown unknowns, and we'll make a decision based on the stuff we've got in front of us.
That sounds good, Andy. I had actually had planned to take off Monday, if that's all right, using a culture day.
Yeah. Use whatever you need.
Yeah, my wife and then the daycare's off, so I think it just makes sense.
Whatever. I mean, I'm not about arbitrary dates. You know me.
You got it. No, but as far as the other, so yes, got that action item. The other action item was you mentioned during the call that there's some things that you're going to be, some meetings that are going to happen next week regarding this, what's the guy's name? His name is Craig Mundy. His effort, bring me on. I want to be side by side with you on this. At least, do our best trying, and we'll see at the end of the day what happens with this. But at least, go out with a bang.
Dude, we're not going anywhere. Like I said, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. But you make me better, and so I feel more confident and more in my own skin when I'm working with you, and you give me not just confidence but also insight. So I'm grateful for the sport.
Likewise, how can we look, dude? You're very busy, man, and I never take it personal. How can we just stay more in touch with what you're going on in your world and what's going on in mine? Should we just have a bi-weekly call?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like if you grab 10 minutes for me, so 8:30 to 9 o'clock is sacrosanct for me, but I only need 8:40 to 9 o'clock. So if you want to grab 11:30 Eastern to 11:40 Eastern every single freaking day, just put it in my calendar and I won't move it.
You got it, dude. No, I remember you on that 5 a.m. call your time a few weeks back. It's not fun. I don't know how you do it, but you just...
It's like I said, angst and anxiety and fear of failing. So...
that helps.
I gotta take my kid to the bus at 8:50, and so I'm running around chasing two ADD kids who don't want to go to school in the morning. With hey, take your lunch, but 8:30, 8:40 is my time, and so it's you. I'm happy to give it over to you because it'll energize me for the rest of the day.
That's awesome. Let's do it. You bring up ADD. I don't know if you have it, but it's definitely I feel like, I don't know if you've experienced or well, you say your kids have it. I don't know if you're just being...
My wife and my children my wife is got diagnosed with ADD late in life, and she's a computational linguist and a social scientist just like me, and so she's basically realized that she's really big into coping strategies and trying to figure out exactly how to kind of organize our lives such that they can actually thrive as opposed to kind of struggling with all the kind of atypical stuff that they have to fight with. But I'm more anxious than anything else. But
No, I mean, I've seen the benefits of it. I mean, the pinball machine that goes on in your head, you get new ideas. You get outside that box that, society can put you in.
Well, I'm really, I'm not saying this to say, but I have a lot of newfound respect for people. I didn't use the terms lightly. I mean, I know what my kids go through on a regular basis, and when my daughter was getting kicked out of kindergarten because she had attention issues, we were like, oh, come on, it can't be that bad. She's going to grow out of it. And we realized that it was a real thing that we needed to meet head on.
Yes, can't ignore it.
And, it gives her a source of superpowers as well.
That's beautiful, man. I'm excited to just build this relationship together. You have an amazing weekend. I'll talk to you. I'll look at my email on Monday or so, but definitely back to work on Tuesday, and then we'll set up that daily cadence or so, and let's kick some butt.
You're the best. Thanks again, Eddie. See you soon, all right?
See ya. Bye.